So I'm sat here, it's New Year's Eve, traditionally a time to kind of retrospectively look back at the year we've just had and also look forward to the coming year. I just want to take a few moments to kind of go through some of the videos that we've been on together this year, and then just to look forward to some of the things I'm going to be doing next year. So let's have a look through right the way back to the start of this year and kind of where I started at. I think it was the sunrise, to be honest. It was trying to capture the sunrise of 2022. So let's go there now and then kind of go through the videos up to, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So let's hit the sunrise. So the year's riding started on New Year's Day. It was an early start, which I headed up Puddock Road to try and capture the sunrise. It wasn't actually successful because the GoPro, the second GoPro that I was using, the settings weren't, I hadn't checked the settings, so I tried to do a time lapse, but it wasn't successful. It wasn't actually a long ride because from what I remember, I had to nip back quite early because I had a COVID jab booked that day. So, but at least we got out on the bike anyway. Following that, I went through the time portal back to the 1940s. Got some strange looks video in this one, certainly riding down the high street in all the tweed on the old pathways. Well, it's not an old pathway, so it was one I built, but it's still got some odd looks. Next up was the ride with a video that I did without any kind of narration in it. It was, I called it syncopated cycling. It was one that I tried to edit to the beat of the music. So it actually took quite a lot of editing, but I think it worked okay. Following that, it was a ride down the River Road down from Erith, where I stupidly got the GoPro caught in the spokes of the bike, and it snapped fortunately it snapped the bracket, the GoPro bracket, and the GoPro bounced across the road under a lorry, which you will see here. Managed to find it, but I had to handhold the GoPro for the rest of the videoing because the bracket had snapped off. From then it was a windy ride out to Ramsey. Really windy day, just a very short ride because it was pretty much a headwind all the way round. And then it was a windy mountain bike ride over at Gratham. Pretty muddy. It's kind of what mountain biking should be, sort of muddy and wet, but yeah, it was a good crack, good ride. The next ride was out to Broughton. This was quite an early Sunday ride with a beautiful sunrise. Tried to capture the sunrise as I was riding around. Great colours in the sky, looked really nice. From then we headed out to Wennington. I actually took a wrong turn in and found this village, which is right on the doorstep. Loads of thatched cottages, and I have since ridden through Wennington quite a lot. Rode up to Boxworth, which was the next one, with the funky bridge. Really good ride. Following that, headed out to Winwick, which was a 40-mile ride. Started out through Ramsey, as most of the rides do, go down Puddock Road, and then turned out and headed out towards Winwick before coming back through Alconbury. Next up was the 52-miler up to Friday Bridge, which is just over the border in Norfolk. One thing I do remember about this was the sort of pretty much straight 15-mile road. Fortunately, there was no headwind or side wind. It was actually quite a still day. It was a really good ride, and I'll definitely do this one again. From there, I headed down to Cambridge on a 48-mile loop. And then we had the Jubilee ride in honour of the late Queen. Obviously no one knew at the time that she wouldn't be with us at the end of the year, but we celebrated the Jubilee. Fantastic day and quick ride out in my Union Jack garb to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. Next one was Great Paxton, sort of headed out. Another fairly long ride, quite a lot of hills, certainly coming out of St Neots and heading back from St Neots up the hill there. Then headed to Kimbolton, another quite long ride. And then following that was a blisteringly hot ride, just a local one, kind of out towards the back of Ramsey and then coming out back this, along the zigzag road. Really hot. From then the next one was a 43-mile ride out the back of Ramsey to Ponders Bridge up near Peterborough, and then back from there. And then after that there was a 37-mile ride out to Sawtry, which again is kind of heading out that way again, slightly shorter ride, but on what are now quite familiar roads. Then we had a trip overseas after that, where me and Mrs B went out on the mountain bikes on the Isle of Wight. Really good ride. We headed out towards Newport and then kind of cut round, so done kind of probably about a quarter of the island, which was a really good ride. Brilliant day, really clear, no wind, just an awesome day out. Love the Isle of Wight, and hopefully we'll be heading back there with the bikes next year. After that, we're kind of wheeling into autumn, which was the title of this video, sort of just out through Ramsey, sort of taking in the kind of autumnal colours. It was starting to get a bit fresher now. And then me and Dan had another fairly long overdue single speed ride into London. Really good ride. Had a couple of punches along the way, but managed to finish the route. Very much unlike last year where we had to cut it short because we had some technical issues with Dan's bike. But this one was another, I think it was about 22 miles, kind of around out to East London and then through the city, and sort of taking in the sights past St Paul's, over the bridge, over the river, and then out west towards Chelsea before heading back up to King's Cross. Following that, I shared the news that I was successful in the Ride London ballot. So had a short ride where I discussed the Ride London and my surprise at actually getting in. This was followed by a fairly foggy ride out to Ramsey, where I was decked from head to toe in high vis. Again, another short ride sort of out to Ramsey, followed by another misty morning, 34 miles up to Mainey, so out into the Fens. Another really good ride I've been on both ways actually. I've kind of gone from here out to Chatteris through Somersham, and then I've kind of gone out up to Puddock Road and done it in both directions. Big circular route, 34 miles. It's a great ride, one I'll do, definitely do again. Some really good rides out that way. And then to top it off for this retrospective was the frosty Sunday ride I did down Puddock Road in the mist, freezing cold. The GoPro froze, the battery died, but it was only really to sort of test ride the TCR, which I've kind of winterized, which I'll be going out on certainly over the next few months until the weather dries and gets a bit cleaner, or the roads get a bit cleaner. And then I can start taking the propel out again. So back to me sat by the Christmas tree. See you in a bit. See you in a bit. So I hope you enjoyed that quick retrospective view of the rides that I've done and that hopefully you've been on with me this year. There's going to be plenty more going into next year. Obviously, I've got the Ride 100, as I said, that I'm going to be training for. So the rides should progressively get longer towards May. I'm not going to be doing 100 miles before the Ride 100, but my plan is to kind of ramp up to about probably 75, 80 miles with the kind of thinking that when I go to do the Ride 100, the kind of adrenaline and the just the sense of occasion will kind of get me over that 100-mile mark or up to that 100-mile mark. So obviously I've got that to train for. As I've said in previous videos, it's going to be a tough one because this time of year it's just really dark, it's manky, it's wet, it's blowing a gale as it has been the last couple of days here. So it's going to be a difficult one, but I'll get there, and you know, I am actually really looking forward to it, getting on that. Hopefully it'll be sunny. So so I think I can hear Big Ben chiming now, so that's kind of bringing an end to this year. Thanks again for all the support you've given me, the comments, the views, and yeah, just from when I've spoken to some of you in person, the kind of feedback on the videos. I will continue to do these going into next year. A lot of the earlier ones in the year will be kind of training videos and training progress. I'll try and keep them fairly lively and not too boring for you. So yeah, so until then, I will raise a glass and thank you again for all your help and support. Wish you a very happy new year. Hopefully you all stay safe and enjoy your celebrations, and I will see you out on the bike in 2023. So thanks again. Cheers, and I'll see you in a bit. See you in a bit.